Opposition forces are still gaining ground in Syria. The rebels are reportedly at the gates of Hama in central Syria, the latest stop in their lightning offensive that began in the north last week.
The area in green under rebel control, and it includes much of Aleppo and Idlib provinces, and you can see Hama is just a bit further south there.
Well, CNN's Ben Wiedemann is following developments and joins us live now. Ben, as well as being one of Syria's largest cities, Hama is also strategically important. What does it signify that the rebels have advanced this far?
Well, certainly what it means is that the Syrian army, which vowed to launch a counteroffensive a few days ago, clearly remains on the defensive, that they're really having a hard time holding ground as these rebel forces, spearheaded by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, formerly known as Jabhat al-Nusra, are moving ever forward. They basically now control a large stretch of what's known as the M5 highway, which is the major north-south highway linking Aleppo in the north to Damascus in the south. And now, of course, they seem to be at the gates, the northern gates of Hama itself. Now, this is a city of 1 million people. There are basically four major cities on the M5, Aleppo, Hama, Homs, and Damascus. So they now are in control, or could be shortly in control, of two of the major four cities on that highway. And also symbolically, Hama is important because it was there in 2011 where there were massive anti-regime protests that violently suppressed by the regime of Bashar al-Assad. And going back further, back to the beginning of 1982, there was a uprising in Hama led by the Muslim Brotherhood at the time, which was waging an urban warfare against the regime of Hafiz al-Assad, the father of Bashar. That siege of Hama left more than 10,000 people dead. Nobody really knows the final death toll, but it really symbolizes one of the sort of the depth of opposition to the dynasty of the Assad family, and it remains a potent symbol of that opposition to this very day. Christina?
You've seen the Assad regime under pressure before, of course, Ben. How does this compare to those other occasions? How would you describe it?
Well, certainly they now at this point control the smallest amount of territory they've ever controlled, going back to 1971 when Hafiz al-Assad took power in Syria. And unlike, for instance, 2015, when they were also very much on the defensive, that's when the Russians came to their defense. Hezbollah was in Syria in large numbers helping the Bashar al-Assad regime. The Iranians were there. Now we know that Hezbollah has been gutted by the war with Israel. The Russians are distracted by the war in Ukraine. The Iranians have seen multiple senior leaders in Syria killed by the Israelis and also by the opposition as well. So they find themselves really in a very precarious situation where they're losing ground. Their army is riddled with corruption. Morale is very low among the ordinary troops, and their Syria's traditional allies don't seem to be able to come to the defense of the regime as they did before. So they are in a very precarious position today, Max.
Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you, Ben, so much for that.